Why did the villager have to just start randomly jumping up the armor stands just as I was about to start this video? Terrified of punching him now because I just know it's gonna kill armor stands. There's 2 of them now. Yeah. Okay, now don't get in the armors. What is my life? Don't you dare get involved. Yeah. Throughout my time working on this mod, there's been one clear goal that I've absolutely wanted to achieve, and that's every single Kamen Rider, as well as every single form. But ultimately the question pops up, what do I count as every single Kamen Rider? And every single form? What's eligible? What's not? And now I made a video on this a couple of years ago. I figured it was time to update it. So, yeah. To those who don't know me, I am Kelco. I made Kamen Rider Craft. Over the years, I've picked up a few people to help, but I was the original creator, as well as I'm the person that's been working on this longest. I mean, I've been working here for 14 years. Imagine doing 14 years work. Meh. So like I said previously, I have made a video on this. There will be a link up there, but to be honest, there's no need to watch the old one, as I should be going over all of the same rules, as well as adding a bit more detail onto each one. So let's start off with Rule 1, and Rule 1 is essentially it needs the following bits of information, which are name, a good picture, now videos can count as a good picture, as well as a known source. That has been confirmed by us. I don't know if any of you have had to write a proper kind of essay kind of little thing, but one of the main kind of rules they say is never trust Wikipedia. I'm essentially doing the same thing with these rules, where it's a case of the known source. We actually need to know the source and confirm the source that actually exists. Don't just blindly trust whatever is on the Wikipedia, because unfortunately the Kamen Rider Wikia is still made by fans, not actually official, so mistakes can be made. I might actually end up talking about one of these mistakes in a bit, but the other 2 should also be somewhat explainable. A name, we actually need to know who to code it in as. I mean, in theory, we could just add them as unknown rider, but there's only so many times we could do that before it gets really, really annoying. I feel like the perfect example of a rider where we have decent enough pictures of it, but no name, is gotta be the 4 riders at the end of the Shinobi Time special. Yeah, we have these 4 riders, and none of them have names. I mean, if I had any power over Toei, it would be literally just, can you name these 4? Can you name them? I'm not asking for much, am I? Just give them names. I mean, is this Kamen Rider Kununai? What's a Kununai? Yeah. Is this Kamen Rider Sai? No, because this is Kamen Rider Sai. Or is that guy? Is it Sai in Dragon Knight? Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. And of course, a decent quality image or video is also easy to explain. If we don't know what it looks like, we can't add it. Now, I'm currently over here by Myth, because to be honest, I added Myth before I had enough quality images, so we had to go back and adjust it. So that's why we're currently waiting for, is it Meow, and I think it's Rid, just until we can get some decent quality images. I think we're there, so those 2 might be coming very soon. Doesn't matter how quality the image is, if it's missing the key details we need. So it's not just how detailed is the image, it's what details can we see in the image, if that makes literally any sense. Rule number 2 is it has to be from one of the following: the main show / movies, a main stage show. Now we exclude some of the minor stage shows in this, I'll get more onto that in a sec. An official toy line. Now when I say an official toy line, I don't mean just things that are made by Toei or Bandai, but things that are also made by anything that is licensed out by them. So for example, blockies, anything original and unique in blockies, yeah, that's eligible to be in the mod as well. I have no idea what this is, but it also would be eligible. A spin-off or some sort of official media. For example, in the rules here, I say manga, but there are also some additional ones. For example, video games, the Futopii anime, even though I don't think there was anything too unique in the anime itself that wasn't already in the manga. Actually, was Cyclone's skull in the manga? I can't remember. But these rules are essentially here to say no ban stuff, as well as put slight restrictions on some of the official stuff. For example, the rule about stage show stuff is essentially only existing because of this rider right here. Yeah, I don't know what to call this rider. The wiki has it listed as Kamen Rider Zebra Skull Lady. The reason they have it listed as Zebra Skull Lady is because she appeared with a zebra skull. This is a type of mirror monster. Yeah, in my research, this is actually Kamen Rider Papillon, but I couldn't find solid enough information to say definitively this is Papillon, even though I'm pretty sure this is Papillon, as well as the rider they called Papillon is actually Cerberus, and the rider they're calling Cerberus is actually just a wild boar. But because I can't find solid enough information, because it is an older stage show as well as a smaller stage show, it becomes really awkward. Because do I add them with what I believe their names are, or do I add them with what the wiki says their names are? There's a certain level of lacking of information where misinformation can kind of sneak in, and it's like, am I being misled? Is the wiki correct? Am I correct? If I add them the way I think they are, am I going to get complained at? So this is why we have the rules with the minor stage shows, where it's a case of we don't really add them until we kind of have all of the information, which is again something I'm going to go into later. But this is why I've got the restriction on the minor stage shows. And of course, if it's in the main show, then of course it needs to be in the mod. As well as with the toy line stuff, there's going to be another rule later. But if it's cool, it's interesting, and it's in the toy line, then why not add that? As well as official stuff like the mangas, for example, Kamen Rider Spirits, that might as well be the show, so yeah, it's included there as well. Rule 3 is a very confusing rule because we've broken this rule countless times. Essentially, if it is stylized, we always try and aim for a unified style. So if it's something from SIC, we always try and go for what it would look like in this show. For example, we know what Kamen Rider Drive would look like in the show, and we're not going to add the SIC version of Kamen Rider Drive. But, for example, Ryugen Dragon Fruit Energy. We kind of know what Ryugen looks like, so we could kind of guess what an in-show version of Jimba Dragon Fruit's energy would look like. The few times we have broken this rule currently is with this artist version of Shadow Moon, the Cheese Man, as well as Manga Kuga. Manga Kuga really should just be, well, Kuga. But as they appeared in the Overquartz movie, I decided to add them as the manga version, but really they should be in show. I don't know about this dude. Little Shino, should he be in show realism? Is he in show realism? Does a cartoon count as in show realism? I don't know anymore. Essentially, this rule is here to say, if it's over detailed because of a toy variant and it isn't actually meant to be something different, then we're not adding it. It needs to actually be classed as something different. Rule 4, now this is a very important rule. No fan stuff. No fan stuff. If we started doing fan stuff, then we would be here for, well, for forever. This mod will never get complete, as well as people really not be happy with some of the fan stuff. Because the main reason behind the rule with fan stuff isn't really the fact that it would take so long. It's the fact of there's two artists and we add the ones and not the others, and then the other one feels scorned, and it's just like, I don't want to deal with that. The only exception we do with fan stuff is with items that are needed to craft something. For example, each of the individual versions of Ichigo needs a different Typhoon core, and we're allowed to kind of do fan variants of the Typhoon core for each variant of Ichigo, because that's not kind of fan stuff, but it is fan stuff. But you get what I mean. If it's items for accessing forms or crafting something, then we can make a kind of exception if it feels like it should exist in universe. I mean, just look at how many Typhoon cores we've got. I mean, some of them look very unique and different, but they're not actually different stuff, so I don't know. There's probably better examples of the Typhoon cores, but that's the one that pops into my head currently. Rule 5. Now, this is the most important rule. I can override any of these rules at any point. Well, not exactly. Essentially, there's going to be instances where there are riders that don't meet these rules, but really, do you mind? Do you mind? But we still feel like they should be in the mod. For example, as I've mentioned, some of the stage show stuff, or even some of the novel stuff, where we have a basic idea. Where we have a basic idea of what they look like, but we don't have any images, so we can override these rules at any point. But I decided to add some restrictions to this. Now, what I decided to do in the end is actually do it down to a vote. You know what? I'm getting out of it. They keep on sniffing me. There will be 2 to 3 votes held for each of these Rule 5. Vote number 1 is, well, it's just me. It's me deciding whether or not it can go up for a vote. So yes, it's a vote where only I vote. Yay, complete control. The second vote is the vote for the entire mod team, excluding me because I got the first vote. Now, depending on the results of the second vote, it can go for a third vote. Now, what do I mean by that? It still needs to win the second vote, but if everybody votes for it and says, yes, good, then we don't bother with a third vote. But if there's a few votes against it, so not everyone votes for it, but it still wins, then it will go for a third vote. Now that third vote is, well, the public vote. This will be over on the Discord. Now, it's been a while since we did a Rule 5 vote. Now, it's been a while. Now, I might be wrong, but I believe we've only held one proper Rule 5 vote since I implemented these vote rule things. And that's for these two. Alpha and Beta. You just had to photobomb, didn't you? Now, finally, it's Rule 6. I don't remember if Rule 6 actually was in the last video or not. Rule 6 is essentially toy exclusive forms are disqualified if it's just to kind of show off what the toy can do and isn't actually intended to be a unique form. Rule 6 is essentially toy exclusive stuff is excluded if it isn't actually intended to be its own unique thing. For example, if it was just a variant, you know, a color weird little thing where it's just like, oh my god, it's Gav, but all purple. It's so purple because it's like that's not a form. That's just a figure. Additionally, if it's just to show off the way a figure works, then it's also not classified as a form. My perfect example is this 01 figure, which was just to kind of show you the fact that the parts could be mixed and matched and isn't actually intended to be a form. Might have to Rule 5 this at some point though. It looks awesome. Hopefully I haven't rambled too much during this video and you can actually see that there is some things that are and aren't eligible. The main reason I wanted to do this video and update some of these rules is, well, unfortunately we are getting an ever-increasing amount of suggestions for things to add, and it is literally just a AI-generated fake image. I mean, I don't even want to put examples on the screen. I feel like I have to put examples on the screen, but I really don't want to put examples on the screen. If you see examples, forgive me for posting AI. It was always a case that fake images existed and could very easily mislead, but unfortunately AI is making that a lot more difficult nowadays, because some of the fakes are actually starting to look pretty decent, unfortunately. So I wanted to redo these rules, make sure everyone kind of knows them. Things like the known source is extremely important for fighting against AI, as well as things like, some of the other ones are just mainly been adjusted specifically because unfortunately AI does exist now. So I think I've rambled enough. Hopefully you all know what I mean. So if you've enjoyed this, please do feel free to check out my other videos and subscribe if you're not already. Thank you for listening to this dumb slime talk. Till next time.